Hello and welcome to the Sports Perspective. I'm Hayden Grove.
And I'm Jordan Elwood. Well, Hayden, it's finally warm outside. People are breaking out the shorts and flip-flops.
It is a beautiful day today in Columbus, and I would love to talk about it, but we have a lot to cover, so let's get right to it. As a self-proclaimed student guy, Ohio State head football coach Urban Meyer offered Ohio State students the opportunity to prove themselves the fastest student at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center last week. And I was there to cover the action to see who was the fastest. Ohio State head coach Urban Meyer invited students to run here at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, and the 40 students who showed up were faster than anybody could have imagined. As a part of Coach Meyer's Student Appreciation Initiative throughout the spring, students showed up for the first round of a speed competition on Wednesday afternoon at the Woody, looking to show their skills. While they certainly had their doubters at the start, the runners impressed just about everyone who was standing by.
We had a total of 41 that showed up, and to be quite honest, out of those 41, we had about 80% of them were really, really, really fast. So it's going to be tough. The competition's going to be heated, so I'm looking forward to it.
According to Lovo, there was a 4.6 second time, multiple 4.5 second times, and even a 4.4 second time amongst the best of the day. And though he wouldn't divulge the names, he said that the times from Ohio State students were even better than what he saw when he was with Urban Meyer at the University of Florida.
We had some fast kids there, but believe it or not, some of the times that I have here in my hand are even faster than we had at Florida, so it's pretty impressive.
While he was impressed with the speed of the Ohio State students, Lovo said that he and Coach Meyer are more impressed by the commitment of their fans all year round.
You know, Coach Meyer always talks about this, every time we get together as a staff, that without the students, you don't have anyone, and the students, they create the atmosphere, they create the environment, they create the juice, as we say, in the stadium. And without them on your side, you're not going to go anywhere.
The students were certainly focused on the competition at hand, but were excited to be in the midst of Ohio State players such as Jeff Hireman and Dontre Wilson as well.
It's like every day you just don't get to meet the fastest running back or wide receiver on the Buckeyes, and get to meet the players during practice or even get to watch a practice.
Dontre's probably a world-class sprinter. I'm just a poser of anything, so I don't know. We'll just have to see what it comes down to.
While there have been no names announced yet, the fastest of the 40 here at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center will be able to race against Ohio State's Devin Smith and Dontre Wilson at halftime of the spring game in the Horseshoe. For Buckeye TV, I'm Hayden Grove.
Shortly after the students were off to the races, past and present members of the Northwestern football team were successful in their attempt to unionize, generating mixed responses from members of the Ohio State football program during spring practice.
I don't know the full reasoning behind their union. I don't really agree necessarily with football players being unionized. We don't necessarily see the money, but we are getting a lot of benefit out of our scholarships, and it just kind of seems silly to want to be unionized because we get a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't get, and we don't get the same opportunities, but we can get set up for life after football if you really want to. So it's just all about taking advantage of what you do get. I don't know, I don't think the union's necessarily a great idea. Everyone wants to get more money, obviously, all the time, but we're getting a good amount. It'd be nice to get a little bit more, especially, the cost of living is going up, and I don't think that our stipend is going up. So obviously a little bit more money is always nice, but I'm not really in the business of trying to force people to do that.
I think it's neat that the players feel that they're doing the right thing. Just to say what my thoughts are based on what they're doing, but I think it's going to change. It's going to change college football, and it is best for the players. And then why not take a look at it and listen to the voice of the players sometimes? That would be my thought on it.
After the break, we'll give you the lowdown on a Buckeye baseball doubleheader as well as some Ohio State basketball. Don't go away. Over the weekend, the Ohio State baseball team played a series against the Indiana Hoosiers over at Bill Davis Stadium. After losing the first game of the three-game set 4-6, the Buckeyes were rained out and snowed out on Saturday, setting up a Sunday doubleheader. Sports director Franz Ross and I were there to recap the twin billing.
After a snowy Saturday, the Ohio State Buckeyes and Indiana Hoosiers decided to play two here at Bill Davis Stadium on Sunday. But Indiana would take the second game of the three-game series with a final score of 8-2. The game got off to a cold start with both teams failing to score until the third inning when Buckeye first baseman Josh Dezay scored a 2-run double to give Ohio State the lead. Although the lead didn't last long as Indiana answered back in the fifth, scoring 3 runs off 2 home runs.
From the field, it just seemed like we were flat, and the dugout seemed like we were flat. Our team's definitely on the uppity up usually, and I don't know really what was going on there, but I do know that we will bounce back.
Well, the quality of their at bats wore us down. The other thing you look at is, they're dudes. We're dudes. You think of who their 3 best players are. It's Schwarber, it's Travis, and it's DeMuth, and those guys showed up. They had big time weekends, and that's what you need. You need your big players to play in big games, and their guys did that.
Ohio State relieved starting pitcher Greg Greevy in the 6th. However, the Hoosiers still closed out the inning with a 3-run single to take the game to 7-2. After one more Indiana run scored in the 8th, Hoosier long reliever Will Corson Carr received the win after closing out the game with 5 scoreless innings. Greevy got the game's loss as he moves to 3-2 on the season.
Yeah, I can say it's the first time I felt like we played young. We got a young ball club. Right. And I think today's the first time where I really felt like we played young. We tried to do a little too much. Ronnie Dawson, I love the kid. He's playing his tail off out there, tries to dive for a ball. That's just, you're trying too hard. You can't make that play. It's a young mistake.
The Buckeyes will rely on Tanner Tully to deliver them a win in the final game of the series against Indiana, and we'll see about that shortly as it starts just 45 minutes after the end of the first game. I'm Franz Ross for Buckeye TV. Now over to Hayden Grove for the second game.
Despite having only 15 minutes to warm up in the chilly temperatures before Game 2, the Hoosier Bats came out hot as Indiana swept the series in the doubleheader against Ohio State by a final score of 7-1.
When you come to adversity, and getting swept at home is adversity, in my opinion. When you have adversity as a person, as a team, as a family, no matter what it is you do, your character becomes defined, and we're going to find out what we're all about here in the next week.
Tanner Tully started on the mound for the Buckeyes in Game 2 and was immediately beat up as the Hoosiers got out to an early 4-0 lead. Sloppy defensive play didn't help either, however, as 2 Hoosier runs were plated in part thanks to Ohio State's early miscues in the field. As the Buckeyes came to the plate, however, their misfortunes would only continue. After scoring just 2 runs in Game 1 of the doubleheader, the Buckeyes could only muster a single run in Game 2 thanks to a dominant performance from Indiana pitcher Christian Morris. Morris didn't allow a single hit in the first 2 innings of the game, and while he wasn't perfect, the Indiana ace finished with 7 2/3 innings pitched, allowing just 3 total hits and 1 earned run while striking out 4 batters.
They pitched well. They did a couple of things. I think they used both sides of the plate with their fastball, and they hit with their breaking ball. They hit enough with their breaking ball to give us, to have that off speed in the back of the mind, and but their fastball was on both sides of the plate.
While Beals was not pleased with his team's performance over the weekend, as the Buckeyes were bashed by an aggregate score of 15-3 on Sunday afternoon alone, he said following the game that his team was going to have to pick themselves up and get back to playing Ohio State baseball in the coming days.
There's going to be no magical potion to it. We're going to get right down to the grassroots of what we're all about, what we've talked about, and we're going to work hard and practice hard and dig into our team, dig into each other, and lean on each other and be Buckeyes. And you just got to go. You can't add new. No sense in adding new. If I thought that would work, we'd have been doing it all along. We're going to go down to our grassroots and build ourselves back up.
The Buckeyes will take on the Ohio Bobcats and Toledo Rockets in the coming days before traveling to Lincoln, Nebraska to take on the Cornhuskers for a 3-game set. For Buckeye TV, I'm Hayden Grove.
Last week, we mentioned that the Ohio State men's tennis team tied the NCAA record for consecutive wins at home. Well, this week, they've taken the title, coming into a matchup with the Northwestern Wildcats with 184 straight victories. The Buckeyes were able to overtake the Wildcats and by an overall score of 4-3 to secure their 185th straight victory at home and overtake the Stanford women's tennis team's record of 184 straight wins on their own turf. The Ohio State home win streak began in Columbus in 2003 with a win over the Purdue Boilermakers and had spanned over 10 years.
After officially losing junior forward LaQuinton Ross to the NBA, the Ohio State men's basketball team was able to add talent very quickly. Anthony Lee, a 6'9", 230-pound junior from Columbia, Maryland, will be joining the Ohio State basketball team next season for his final year of NCAA eligibility. Playing his first 3 years for the Temple Owls in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee announced his decision via Twitter, saying, "Buckeye Nation, too blessed, been through too much, and Coach Mata and the Buckeye family knows what I need for this last year. Blessed." While Lee was a big addition for Mata and his Ohio State staff as they head into next season, they aren't done adding big pieces quite yet. It has been reported that the Buckeyes are also a target for 6'11", 210-pound Virginia Tech transfer Trevor Thompson, who is looking to leave Blacksburg following just one season with the Hokies.
This week in Ohio State athletics, baseball and softball will be on the road this weekend as baseball journeys to Lincoln for a weekend series against Nebraska. One of the games you can catch in Columbus this weekend is women's soccer, who will be playing Ohio on Saturday at 3:45. The baseball team will return to Bill Davis Stadium next week, where they will play a pair of 6:35 games against Eastern Michigan on Tuesday and Dayton on Wednesday. Softball will also be in action on Wednesday as they host Ohio in a doubleheader with the games at 5 and 7.
So Jordan, the Ohio State Spring Football Student Appreciation Practice is this Saturday at 11 o'clock at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. What are you looking forward to?
I think that the semifinals for the Fastest Student Challenge should be really fun to see. Hopefully we see a bunch of fast students out there.
Buckeye TV will be there to give you the coverage on that, so stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching this week.
Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Have a good evening.